Welcome. My name is Tammy Shaw Sykes. I'm the founder of Shift Fitness and Massage and Shift Your Posture Transformation Programs. I'm excited to be sharing today's webinar on Shift to Better Posture. I know, you just sat up, didn't you? Hang on just a second. I've got a PowerPoint for you. Stay tuned. Shifting to better posture. Again, my name is Tammy Shaw Sykes. I'm a pain relief and posture alignment specialist. Posture. We tend to sit up, but what do we really know about it? We've got sitting posture, standing posture. We've got sleeping posture. We've got moving posture. Posture is going to be how the bones and muscles move and work together. We're going to start out with clinical studies. It can be a little bit of a dry subject, but got to do it anyways, because people have contributed their time and effort to make sure that we have a better understanding of things. Unlike on PubMed is a website that's literally public to everybody, they're a little bit hard to understand and read. Unlike where you hear about a placebo versus a medication, posture takes time to do the research and to find the people and study them over years. So in 2004, Dr. Data, as well as his team, they went and they found a startling link between poor posture and mortality. That would be death. So they found that out of the 1,353 elderly people that they studied over years, a high percentage of those, they died younger of hyperkyphosis of the thoracic spine. Hyperkyphosis sounds Greek because it is. Medical terminology is done in Greek. Hyper means extreme or severe. Kyphosis means rounded. That the rounding of that shoulder. But that was 2004. What about now? More recent information prior to 2020 indicated that 20 to 40% of healthy adults have a thoracic hyperkyphosis. That would mean if you got together 10 of your friends or 10 of your family, 2 to 4 of those, 2, 3, or 4 of those may have a severe rounded shoulders. We're hearing what happens with that, but what does that feel like? Well, let's just stop here for a second and check that out. I want you to help me out here. So let's, with yourself sitting up, leaving your shoulders still, I want you to turn your head to the right. Think in your mind, what do you see? Back to the center. And you don't want to go a quick turn. You want to go a slow turn so that you can engage as many muscles as possible. And turn to the other side. What do you see? Think about that in your head. Go back to the center. Now, let's lean our head forward. Come on, you can lean it. Let's bring that forward a little bit more. And then a little bit more. Awesome. Now, turn your head to the right. Can you see the same thing? Back to the center. Turn your head to the left. Can you see the same thing that you did before? Back to the center. Oh, let's lift up the shoulders. Let's bring them back. Oh, round them out. Bring them back. Turn to the right again. Hopefully you can see what you saw before. Back to the center. And to the left. Back to the center. Could you notice yourself getting a little fatigued? The neck got a little bit sore? How about the surprise of what could you see or not see when you moved your head forward? The head is actually about, the average person's head weighs about 10 to 14 pounds. Okay, we all know a few people that have a little bit bigger head than that, but that's usually on their own minds. Weight-wise, that would be about 10 to 14 pounds. The physics indicates the more we bring that 10 to 14 pounds more forward, it becomes more closer to 30 pounds. If I'm about 3 inches forward, my shoulders are rounding, I'm about 45 pounds of pressure on my neck and shoulders. Ugh, I gotta put that back. But of course, you may notice that driving, looking over the shoulder for the blind spot, that gets to be a little bit of a challenge the further your head went forward. The more we want to be able to be independent and drive as we get older, the more important it is to be having flexibility in our neck and shoulders. We shouldn't be turning our whole body. But what happens? Is it just people that are old? No. We're finding more and more people that are, look at this young gal, looking at her phone, IT. It's all about the tech. And you can see how she's starting to get that roundedness of that, what we call that thoracic spine. You might be out and about, may not be just your home or visiting family. You might be out and about watching grandkids or watching your own kids. You can see this gal here, her neck is starting to lean forward, her shoulders are leaning forward. This gal is starting to a little bit. This gal right here, she may have some problems down the road because you can see how that's starting to round quite a bit. Then again, we did talk about 4 out of 10. This happens to be 1 out of 4. 25%. Kind of a big percentage. And of course, if you got kids with poor posture, they turn into adults with poor posture. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can do better. But how else does your spine affect your postural health? Let's talk about that posture. With the head and the neck, that top quadrant there, first quadrant, that can lead to migraines, headaches, neck pain, jaw issues, temporal, a lot of times there's dental issues going on. Of course, being a pain relief specialist, I've seen it all. There can also be rib, we talked about the roundedness of the shoulders. Even if it's not extreme, it can still cause upper back pain, tension, rotator cuff issues, shoulder injuries, TOS, that's thoracic outlet syndrome. Syndrome means a lot of different things. That could mean tingling, numbness, pain down the fingers, down carpal tunnel symptoms, golfer's elbow, tennis elbow, otherwise, radial, ulnar, medial nerve issues, breathing restrictions, sometimes even heart palpitations when there's that rib issues. Also, when the hips tend to lean forward, that could be, or they might lean back. That could be rounding of the back, too much curve or too little curve. It could be a flat back. So that could be some low back pain, tension, pelvis issues, pelvis muscles, so bladder's dysfunction, hip, even menstrual cramps, endometriosis, even menopause symptoms can be a little bit more extreme when there is low back issues or pelvis, excuse me, or hip issues. And then, of course, the fourth quadrant that we look at when we're looking at a postural analysis, which I do, is we look at the foot, the ankle, knee injuries. Do both knees turn out? Does one knee turn out? Has surgery happened? A broken leg on one side? How did that react with the muscles? Are the right muscles working at the right time? So dysfunctional gaits, but all of this is part of our posture. Now, this happens to be somebody that I am very, very familiar with. You might even recognize this person. This is not a person leaning in. Oops, sorry. It's not a person leaning in towards, for this photo. That was just how my head went. My shoulders were up, rounded forward. I had migraines, headaches, neck pain, jaw issues, numbness in my hand. You can see this hand right down here. Didn't even bother opening because I had some of that thoracic outlet. I had fingers that felt like they were slammed in a door. So that can, breathing restrictions, they called it asthma. And it's like, it's amazing I can do the sports that I do now. Low back pain and pelvis issues. So there's a lot of different issues, including menstrual cramping that was extreme. You can see down here, My feet are turned out. Again, that's not because that was just how I normally stood, which also meant I had low back issues and hip. So this person I had a lot of issues with. And that was actually before the age of 40. I didn't realize nobody took a look at my posture. But we can do better. We can stand tall. I was very shy, so I was rounded down a lot. So having confidence, people didn't see confidence in me because I wasn't, but that was also part of the pain that you start feeling more and more pain, more sadness, more cramping. So, but we can do better. We can change our posture. There's still time. Like I said, it was before the age of 40. So now you may find me actively out opening up my hands, hitting things along the way. As yes, on Saturdays and Wednesdays, I can usually be found playing volleyball. Usually a couple hours each time. You might see me out dancing. Or you might find me being silly. Because sometimes I like to volunteer my time making beds, doing sanding, a couple of hours, and there's so much sand and sawdust everywhere that you kind of need a blower to go and get it all off. You can see even down to the feet, everything is covered. I like being able to use my hands now that my hands open and I don't need two hands to go and hold a cup of coffee. Because that's how bad I was. There's still time. What are some of the activities that might even change your posture that may not be so good for you? Here are top 5 of the top. Driving. A lot of times there might be 2 drivers in one car, so there may not be the same height. So make sure that you're not leaning forward or leaning back too far, having to stretch your leg out too far. You can see how that goes and change the position of my spine just by reaching too far. So if you're going on a longer trip, you may want to have some lumbar support here, like a small pillow behind your back, so that helps to support that back. We talked about shift transformation programs. So when I work with my people for those 12 weeks, part of that is if they're going on trips, we talk about what are some exercises that they can do while they're driving, taking frequent breaks. So those are things to consider. We also talk about exercises. A lot of times people are going to the gym and not even realize that their form, by not having proper form, can actually increase their pain or deteriorate their posture. 90% of pain is actually caused by muscle imbalances. Are you doing the right things in the right order? Is one side more stronger than the other? Are there muscle imbalances from doing too much sitting? So we talk about how to make the exercise effective for you and customized. Many times I've had clients that have come back from traveling and and all of a sudden they've got neck pain or back pain. And one of the first things is, did you bring your own pillow? So how we sleep, we talked about sleeping posture. That can make a difference. One of the worst things to do is to be a stomach sleeper, because then your head turns off to one side and then that neck can actually get pinched. It also goes and arches the back in an incorrect fashion. So it puts too much strain on the back. So sleeping on the back or on your side is optimal. You want to make sure that your pillow isn't too low or too high, so that you want to keep your spine even straight, even when you're on your side or on your back. So you want just a little bit of little bit of support there. These days, we're working from home some of the time and at work some of the time. We may have stand-up desks. We may have kitchen counters. We may have laps. So we want to be careful and make sure that our laptops are eye height so that we're not leaning forward, putting extra pressure on our necks, like what we experienced earlier. That's a lot of that roundedness of working forward instead of realizing that we need to sit up. And of course, neck. We've all got these. Most of the time they're sitting so close to us, but we want to make sure that when you're, oh, do I need to look down? No, I can easily go and turn my phone on and glance up. and use the buttons to go and do whatever I need to do and try to keep that up as much as possible so you don't have extra neck pressure. Posture is deteriorating as fast as technology is advancing. The smaller things are, it's getting to be more and more of a challenge. But you can go and change your posture because it will change your health. We're going to do some exercises now to improve our posture. So we just change our screens just a little bit. So I'd like you, really hope that you participate with these. I think you're going to find some great tips.